Yes, sir. Welcome back. Section 215 Sports Talk. It's the 2024 draft recap. I go by the name Jay,
You already know the sheet.
and we about to get right into it, man.
It was a wonderful weekend if you are a Philadelphia fan, right? Well,
Yeah,
Eagles
yeah,
fan, I should say.
Eagles fan, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, we gonna get right to it, man. We ain't gonna waste your time or hold your love too long. I know what we're here for. Just go over the draft with the first pick in the 2024 NFL draft. The Philadelphia Eagles selected Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo. How you feel about that, she?
Bro, I didn't even mock him to us as bad as I wanted us to get him, but I thought there was no chance to get him at 22, bro. So the fact that the board fell down, the fact that the board fell the way that it did all the way to 22, I found that kind of crazy. But I mean, if you can recall, I've been talking about this kid since like January, December type shit. So it was
Mhm.
just, you know what I mean. I knew the kid was a dog. He's a good prospect. Try. I know everybody want to talk about the small school thing, but listen, if you can play ball, you can play ball. It don't matter where you go to school at, man.
Yeah, one thing I'll say about Quinion Mitchell, man, like you said, he's a dog. He got the athleticism. That's definitely a good trait of his. He's fast. Plays the ball well. Plays a lot of zone coverage, which we tend to play a lot with our corners too. Um, yeah, he's he's one of them. We never thought we can get him. We thought we had to trade up to get him. You know what I mean? We was also prior to us talking. I mean, if y'all seen our mock draft, you can go back and watch it. We did not mock him. He was going in like the top 17 pick.
15, yeah,
Yeah,
15,
something like that.
16 around there, something like that. Yeah. So
He was
nah, I
going.
agree.
He
I
was going
agree.
somewhere in that range. So we thought we would have had to trade up, make a trade, and kind of risk some more draft capital to get this guy, which we weren't too firm on doing. We were trying to also stay fair and build the rest of our team, but um, the run in the draft was pretty crazy. I mean, I
Yeah,
we
it
we
was.
can go to it before we get to the rest of the Eagles players.
Yeah,
The
the
first
fact.
round was
Mm-hmm.
actually insane, like historically, insane. Like
What?
the
Yeah.
most quarterbacks, 14 straight offensive players. Like when you look at a defensive player did not come off the board until the 15th pick.
So shout out to Leatu Latu. He went to the coast. That was the first defensive player drafted. That's
15.
crazy, bro. And honestly, bro, I didn't even think that it was gonna be Latu to be the first defensive player drafted. But hey, listen,
Yeah,
that's
we
why we're not. That's why we're not draft experts. That's why we just go based off of solo just opinions. You know.
I mean, we did say Latu was the better of the two DNs. We just the injury history just kind of. If
Yeah.
we were in the position to draft a player, I probably would have went Dallas Turner just because of the injury history. But with all of that happening and all those quarterbacks being taken, it allowed the Philadelphia Eagles to actually stay put. Which, if you was looking pre-draft, we were getting a lot of notifications. How are we trying to trade up? How are we trying to do this? How are we trying to do that? But how we didn't have to do none of that because there was no point. We everything fell to us. We were looking for
Mm-hmm.
corner. We were looking for corner and probably like edge rusher, but it fell right into our lap. So that played out perfectly, and we couldn't have asked for like a better guy when it comes to Quinion Mitchell. At least a better prospect, I'll say that. You
Mm-hmm.
never know what anyone is going to be or could be, you know what I mean? But what I would say is he's a dog. And I can definitely
Yeah.
say that, you know what I mean? Or like you said, the small school thing is what it is. But when it comes to just him, like he showed out in the Senior Bowl. So he's played against other competitions such as Marvin Harrison and Jackson Smith and Jigba. They played Ohio State last year, so you know what I mean. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that he hasn't seen other people. And he also could have went Power Five school if he wanted to. Like he could have hopped in that
Talk to him,
portal.
my boy. Let him
He could
know.
have hopped in that
He
portal, but
denied he denied NIL money, didn't he?
yeah, he said that.
Yeah.
He was just being loyal to his exact statement was that he was just being loyal to Toledo. Toledo gave him an opportunity. He came out of high
Mhm.
school with a little bit of grade issues. They gave him opportunity, so he stayed pat and actually played and went to Toledo. When he had chances to hop in the portal, he said, I just wanted to stay loyal to where I'm from. And you gotta respect that. So you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah,
So
it's
I'm
facts.
happy with
It's
it.
Nah, I agree with you. I mean, if you're not happy with this pick, then I mean, you just don't know ball then, because like when you look at it and you talk about like the Bill Belichick's of the world and Nick Saban, they had high praise for this kid. I mean, Nick Saban if Quinyon was gonna hit that transfer portal like a lot of prospects do when things go bad or change of coach or anything like that, they usually hit that transfer portal, and Quinyon didn't. He didn't hit that portal, and Nick Saban was the first in line that was ready to recruit him over there. So that speaks volumes about the kid. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You mentioned it just not too long ago. He went up against and Jackson Smith and Jigba, my fault, and then Marvin Harrison. And to his credit, that was actually the last time he allowed a touchdown was back in 2022 to Marvin Harrison. So to
Right.
go 400 and something plus snaps without allowing a touchdown, come on, man, that's ridiculous right there.
Not even just without allowing the touchdown, bro. This boy had one DPI in the last 2 seasons. For all y'all that don't know, it's defensive pass interference. So he hasn't. He's
Mm-hmm.
not real. He plays with effort, but he doesn't get flags. That's a big thing. Sometimes
Yeah.
you get a little handsy, and that translates to the next level where you can't keep your hands off people. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but credit to Howie and Jeffrey and them boys really made our day here in Philadelphia that night. Uh,
hmm
like I said, I was in shock. I was like, wow, I didn't even think. Like the reason why I was in shock because I didn't think that we was going to have a chance to get him at 22. I mean, nobody would have. Like if you look at every mock, they had him as high as number 8 to Atlanta. So that's
I
crazy.
mean, we we knew what it was. Once we got to around like pick 20, I'm calling she like, yo, she hold on, this thing might work out. Like you know what I mean? We might could get him, but
Wasn't it like an excitement with every pick being took and we're like,
yeah.
all right, 20, all right, he ain't going 20, all right, 21. Yo, bro, what you doing here? 22, bro.
On the board, let's go. It definitely was like that though. It was definitely
Yeah,
a build up. All right.
yeah.
So let's switch gears. Day two, Friday. Friday night. That was another surprise. So in the second round, the Eagles moved up, pick 40. And with pick 40,
Hmm.
the Philadelphia Eagles selected
You know.
Cooper DeJean or
Uh-huh.
DeJean, however you want to say it. But
Yeah. It's funny because we had him mocked at 22 because we didn't think we had a chance to get
yeah.
Quinion, and then what's the odds of that happening? As a matter of fact, there was a stat that pulled up during the draft. I'm a sports geek, so I was sitting there watching all the draft picks every round and everything sitting there. And there was a 3% chance that both Quinion and Cooper DeJean would land to the Eagles within the first 50 picks. That's insane right there, bro.
hmm
Yeah,
So
but
to move up, we traded with Washington Commanders. I don't know why. If you're a Commanders fan, I don't know why you will let anybody in the division get two starting corners who's probably like out of the corners that came out of the defensive backs that came out, they were probably the two of the top three, I mean top four, prospects in the
mm-hmm,
draft. So whatever. But shout out to Washington for giving that though. The trade was we gave up the number 50, 53, and the Eagles also gave up their fifth round pick, which was number 161. And in return, we got their third round pick at number 78, and also a fifth round pick at 152. So
mm-hmm.
we moved up and took him at 40. So I mean, we on the scale of the trades, I know a lot of NFL like fans out there, y'all seen the scales and everything like that. The trade was kind of Washington won that trade. I would definitely like on the scale, they won that trade. But for us,
Mm-hmm.
I'm an Eagles fan. Cooper DeJean, we won. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
not gonna give me this utility guy who could play safety, who could play corner, who could do it all, play my nickel. Another athletic guy, another guy who's not a DPI guy, doesn't get defensive pass interference, plays zone very well, watches the film, also is a dangerous returner. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's up from here.
Well, he was a first team associated press All American in the Big Ten, and he was a Big Ten defensive back of the year, return specialist of the year. So when you hear that type of stuff, man, it's just like sky's the limit
Yeah.
and what he also was a finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award. So if you don't know too much, that's given the Jim Thorpe Award is given to the nation's top defensive back. So for him to be in that finalist list, that's pretty good, man. Um, like you stated, he's not too handsy. He's another defensive back that what popped off on the screen to me was that he didn't allow a touchdown himself in over 400 and what was it, 387 snaps. My fault. So I mean that goes to he didn't allow a touchdown last season either in college for Iowa. So you know how that go. So
Right.
he was getting busy, and he faced the likes of Marvin Harrison. He faced some big time quality receivers playing in the Big Ten. He went up against my Michigan squad, and he's like that.
Right, right,
Even
right.
though a lot of people will want to move him to safety, or I mean, I don't like he stated in his press conference. He really doesn't have a position. Like he'll play nickel, he can play safety, he can play in the box safety, up top safety, wherever you need him to play. Outside corner, it don't matter. The boys just want to play, man. He just want to prove that he belongs on that field.
Right, for sure, for sure. I'm definitely not mad at this pick. This was like, you know, this was he one of the ones to will. Yeah, everybody gonna find out, man. Like a lot of people, our defense. If you're an Eagles fan, last year, bro, we couldn't stop the pass. We got another cornerback on the other side who's pretty, pretty not. Probably won't be here. Probably be a post June first cut, but I mean, just out of respect, he's still an NFL player, but he had a step back last year. I'll just say that to be very respectful. And James Bradbury,
But boy,
he had a
they
very
was
nice step
whistling
back.
that they was whistling that football right over. They was putting skid marks on the niggas' helmets. You feel me?
Yeah. So yeah. So and one thing too, both of these guys, they're tacklers, so they will come up and make tackles. So that's another thing which we lack at the cornerback position. So. And I mean, now it
Mhm.
just makes our cornerback room deep, man. We got players from last year who look like they got some talent still. In Eli Ricks and Keely Ringo. So we'll see where that goes. And then we still got some solid pieces back there and Reed Blankenship, Darius Slay, CJ Garner Johnson. So our secondary just really got really got upgraded today. So
It's
throughout
gonna
this
it's
whole
gonna
draft is upgraded.
yeah, it's gonna be let the best man win because that competition in the off season gonna go crazy in training camp.
Hmm. All
Yeah,
right,
but
so let's get to the third pick. I mean, the third pick for me, um, was one I didn't see coming. I didn't think we would go this route, but with the third pick in the 2024 NFL draft, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Jalex Hunt, outside linebacker or edge, however you want to pronounce it, out of Houston Christian. Um,
yeah,
I thought this pick was a little bit of a reach. I mean, I get where what they're doing with him and his prospect, and him being a prospect pick and everything like that. But
mm-hmm,
and I guess that was the reason why Howie traded back in the third round to pick up
mm-hmm,
some more draft capital that we'll talk about later, how he flipped some of that stuff. But yeah, he moved back because this guy wasn't too high on many people boards. I mean, he's a good prospect, but sometimes between that 1 through 3 rounds, you're looking for starters. You're looking for
yeah,
people who can come in and almost make an immediate impact, or at least be the guy backing up. That's like, hey, I'm next in line. A lot
yeah,
of people, if you listen to a lot of scouts, they talk about this guy Hunt, like he's a 2 year project before we could see him on the actual field being productive. You know what I mean, or at least a year and a half. So, how
right,
you
right.
felt about this? She
Well, I'm on the same page as you. I can't sit here and gloat about every draft pick that we get because a lot of these kids, some of them might not make it they might make it on somebody else's roster, but but this is the truth of the reality is like he's like you stated, he's one of these prospect. He's an athletic freak. He started off his collegiate career as a safety. And he went to Cornell, which is really not known for football and stuff
football,
like that.
yeah.
So and then he transferred out to a smaller school that I've never heard of. So it brought a little bit of awareness to me with this smaller school. But like I said, it's sometimes it don't really matter about the small school stuff. But he seems like he's a raw prospect. It's not too much film on him, but all I know is that they talked about him a lot during the Senior Bowl. When I looked up information on him, a lot of the GMs, a lot of scouts were talking about him that he's one of those athletic freaks, and He got sideline to sideline speed, but he's still a raw prospect. He can be coached up certain ways, but that he might not get any starting time.
Right. I mean, so we'll see where he goes. I'm rooting for the kid. I hope he does it in a year. Hopefully he flashes. I kind of my comparison was like I guess a better version of like a Patrick Johnson who was on the roster, who
Right, right,
was a
right.
real promising.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah, I mean just a little bit, like you said, started out at safety, so he can actually drop into coverage from the edge, which is viable in a Vic Fangio scheme. So we'll see what they get from him. Apparently they said Vic loved him a lot, like he was one of his favorite prospects in the whole draft. So I'm guessing that's pretty much a good reason why they drafted him. If your defensive coordinator loves him, I mean, I will go get the guy too. I just don't
Right,
know if
right.
we had to get the guy in the third round. But I mean, with us willing and dealing and moving back, I don't believe at that time we had a fourth round pick. So yeah,
Nah, I think we did, but it was more like of a later round. But I could be wrong on that. I think we was like in the 120. I think it was like 121, or we might have traded because I remember we started off at 78, and then we ended
hmm
up all the way back to 94, and I believe we picked up an additional fourth round.
yeah, we
But
actually picked up that fourth round when I think in that Washington trade. I think we moved up with them actually.
hmm
So yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's cool. That was cool. I mean, third round pick. I wasn't mad at it too much. You know what I mean? They hit the first two out the park. So
right, right.
even if I'm going, A's on those and I give this one a project, you give it a C maybe, then you balancing out to at least a high B. So you're still in good company right now. You know what I mean? So I wasn't mad at that. Like I said, we picked up a lot of draft capital in the Washington trade, and also in the third round, we also traded back twice. We
Right. I
moved
believe
back
we traded back with Houston one time as well. I picked up an
Houston, yep.
additional pick. Yep.
So we
Actually,
traded.
actually, the Eagles and Houston made multiple. I think they made like three trades together over the draft, fifth round and sixth round. So
Yeah. So they made that trade back, and they still got the guy that they wanted. So that's cool. But in the fourth round, they traded back some of those picks as well. But they did make a selection in the fourth round, and in the fourth round, the 2024 NFL draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Will Shipley.
running back from
How you feel
Clemson,
about
man.
that Will Shipley pick, man?
Uh, I mean, there's enough tape on him. He's still to me he still has he has to improve a little bit catching out of the backfield, but with having Saquon and having now having Saquon, shout out to Howie and them boys, and then having Kenny Gainwell. I mean, I think he could sit and learn. I believe he might get some starting time this year, but don't know much, don't know how much starting time he'll get. But I mean, the kid is he's a project running back, but he played in a big time school and in one of the big five conferences in college. So we got to see. I mean, he's he's athletic. He's a little bit undersized. I mean, not too undersized for a running back, but he's
Yeah,
what
5'11",
5'11", 206.
206.
Yeah, so I
I
mean,
mean, listen, Next Gen Stats has him as a good backup with potential to develop into a starter. So
yeah.
I mean, like you said, he's super athletic. I know he plays well, like he through through contact. He has a good acceleration,
hmm
early in the run. Um, I just don't know if he could hold up to like constant contact, but he played. Well, I think he was a senior coming out of his draft, so he played enough at no, he's a junior. He played enough at Clemson. I mean, that's a high Division 1 school, Power 5 school. So I mean, like you
Right.
said, we got Saquon, we got Gainwell. I mean, we needed a third back. I
Yeah,
don't
we
think
just we just
Boston
yeah we
Scott
just
could.
gotta. I don't mean to cut you off. We just gotta see how he starts off. I mean, he suffered that bad injury in the Gator Bowl.
Oh yeah,
But
2023, right?
yeah, and that game and that win over Kentucky, I believe it was. But I mean, so his stats here as I'm looking at him here, he played 12 games. He got 8 starts. He had 167 carries, 827 yards, 5 touchdowns, 31 receptions, 244 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. So when you're looking at it, he also returned kicks. So he averaged 28.6 per kick return. And well, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, 8 starts out of 12 games and you got yourself 827 yards. It's not too bad. I mean, so he, you know what I mean? I can't sit here and say he'll be a lead back because we of course we got Saquon, but he can be a good change of pace type of back. You never know. We don't know what's going to happen with Kenny Gainwell in the future. So, you know, the Eagles do like to prepare for few. They do make draft picks and preparing for the future. So we never know where this goes. But I mean, we can't sit here and say that the kid can't play because it. I mean, it shows his stats show pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it's another project. I'm willing to give it a shot. We'll see where it goes. Doesn't hurt his 5th-round pick, so I ain't worrying about it.
Yeah,
Either he gonna play and ball out, or he not gonna play and don't ball
right.
out. You know, it just
Because when you look at his 2022 collegiate year, he had 210 carries for 1,100 yards, almost 1,200 yards, 15 rushing touchdowns. He started all 13 games. So I mean, the kid has shown that he could run the ball. He could run the ball pretty good. I like his vision, man. He has good vision in between tackles. But like I said, if he cleans up a little bit on catching out of the backfield, I think he could do some damage as a change of pace type of running back.
Right. All right. Let's switch gears and go to the next round, the 5th round. The Eagles were very active in the 5th round. Multiple selections in this round. But the first selection in the 5th round, we selected Ananias Smith, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. How you feel about him?
I think Britton Covey got to be careful. But I mean, the kid, they say he's elusive. You know, the words that they described his play was elusive, slippery, which is kind of crazy. And he has that toughness, so he's not scared to go down the middle of the field. I mean, he's only 5'9". I wouldn't think that you will send this type of player over the middle of the field like that. That would be ludicrous if you ask me. But because he's only what 100, 185, 190. You know how that goes. So, but like I said, it's a good. I wouldn't say a good project player. He could end up being a starting special team player. So I would just say that.
Yeah, but I also like in watching some of his highlights, I'll tell you this: he's strong with the ball. Like once he gets the ball, like he's going to compete for our slot. Like that, he's not an outside receiver for us. He won't. You know, you got Smitty, you got AJ Brown, but we needed somebody in the slot who can kind of demand some kind of respect over there, so you can kind of move those linebackers and also make it a little easier for, you know, maybe your running back coming out the backfield or your tight end to get a few receptions because those linebackers and those safeties are keying in on this slot receiver. He avoids contact and big hits. I will say that. Like they said he has excellent instincts to, you know, and toughness to avoid that. So that's why he's not afraid to go across the middle. He's definitely he's fluid and moving in and out of his breaks, not as fast. He's not a streamlined 4-3 runner or nothing like that, but he's fluid in cuts. You know what I mean? Like he's what you looking for in a slot guy, because slot guys are usually running zig routes or, you know, kind of in and out routes, end breaking routes, maybe some drags, maybe, you know,
some
different
post routes.
Yeah, post routes, different things like that. Like maybe a long out route if he's starting from one side. You know what I mean? So I think you get the ball in a kid like this hands, he's not like he's going to come in the league and probably have 75 receptions for 1,000 yards. I'm not looking for that. You know what I mean? We're just looking for a solid 400 to 500 yard guy.
Yeah,
you know
like 4 to 500. Right, like you said, you know, he averaged just last year alone with Texas A&M, he averaged 15 yards per catch. So looks like he was their leading receiver. I'm not too sure what other receivers they had over there at Texas A&M, but he finished that year with 53 receptions and basically 800 yards, not 795 yards in the 9 games that he started. So, I mean, hey, listen, we get to these later rounds, you never know what you got with these players, so you might as well just give them a chance, right?
Hmm. I mean, like I said, his route running is good. So I mean, and just Nick is a wide receiver coach. So I like the pick. I like the
Yeah,
pick, and I like where the production can go. Like, you know what I mean. Quez wasn't really an over the middle guy. This guy is a little smaller, so his catch radius is a little smaller. But I think his toughness and what he can do, like from what I've seen on film, him going across the middle, I think that's what we'll be happy with this kid for. So
right. I think he'll excel as a gadget guy, right?
yeah, yeah. I don't like using that word, but yeah, gadget guy for sure. Um. Oh, the second pick in the fifth round, Philadelphia Eagles selected.
It was bound to happen, man. This kid
Yeah,
was he was born
damn
to be
pick.
an Eagle. He been around the Novacare since the age of what, 2, 3 maybe. So with that
Yeah,
pick, who we took, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., man.
yeah. I think how not Howie Jeffrey Lurie said he knew him since he was what, 2. Like
Yeah,
this relationship right here is deep. On the left side, y'all know who that is. That's Trot. Trot Senior, one of the most, probably one of our best linebackers ever. Definitely a top 5 linebacker in Philadelphia Eagles history.
definitely a
Um,
fan favorite, right?
Yeah, for sure. One of those guys who gave it his all every week. He was giving
Hmm.
his all just as much as B Dog did. You know what I mean? From that linebacker core. So hit like just grabbing Jeremiah Trot Jr. He was falling in the draft. A lot of people had him a little higher than the fifth. They were saying he might go in like the third round, but he was there in the
Yeah,
fifth, and we actually had to move up to get him because I guess Howie
somebody
must
was
have
gonna
some,
take him,
yeah,
right?
Howie must have got word that somebody was bound to take him. So he moved up, made a trade upwards to get Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I'm not mad at the pick. He's very productive. Like when he's on the field. I mean, I know his 40 time and different things like that doesn't it doesn't blow you off the chart like when you compare him to like who was the other guy? The guy from Texas A&M. Who was the defensive?
Adrian
Edrin
Cooper.
Cooper. Yeah. So like when you compare his stats like speed wise to them, it of course those guys are like faster, bigger, stuff like that. Like Trot Junior, I mean he's only 6 foot, 228. By the time you get to the weight room, they'll probably bulk him up to about 235. But one thing you can't take away from him is production. You know what I mean? He's not the
You
super
can't you
most
can't take away
athletic,
that
but
football IQ neither.
yeah, but he always is around the ball. Like he's
Hmm.
always making plays. So like you can say he's short, he's smaller, he ain't the prototypical linebacker size that everyone wants. He's not 6'3", 240, you know what I mean? But I mean, he started 26 games and he had 192 tackles, 29 and a half for loss, 13 sacks, 14 pass deflections, and then he had 4 interceptions, 2
I was
pick
about to say
sixes.
14 would have been crazy.
Yeah, 14 interceptions. But yeah, 4 interceptions, 14 pass deflections. So I mean, like I said, he's a football player. He makes plays. The size might not be there, the speed may not be there, but sometimes in life and especially in football, you just make the play. It's not
Yeah,
you could be undersized, you could be gigantic, you could be big. Like it doesn't matter. Pause that though. But you just make the play. At the end of the day, you're on the field to make plays. So if he's going to
hmm,
come in as a starting linebacker and make plays as a Mike linebacker, I mean, we got Devin White for a year. You got from Georgia that we drafted,
Kobe Dean.
Kobe Dean. You still got
Hmm.
him, but he's also injured all the time. So the best ability could be availability, and I could see Trot getting some playing time, and I could see him also like it's also about that chip on your shoulder. He
Yeah,
dropped to the fifth round. Also, he playing in his dad's footsteps. He want to make his dad proud. So stuff like
yeah,
that just give you that extra motivation, extra edge to go harder. You know what I mean? He's from Philly, basically. You might as well say. I mean, he grew up in Jersey, but he went to like St. Joe's Prep, so he's from Philly. Like everything, he's an Eagles fan. He grew up 2 years old running on the Eagles field. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
that's may motivate him to go harder. And just that little bit of inkling right there could just be the difference between, you know, looking like you run a 4.6 and looking like you run a 4.3. Because when you put pads on, a lot of people get slower anyway.
Hmm.
And if you put his tape on from Clemson, you don't really see his tape showing that he's not capable of being at least a linebacker in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Right. He just has a knack for the football, man. So that's what, sometimes in football, everybody, a lot of people, including analysts and just fans in general, we get caught up with the measurables of 40-yard dash, the speed that a player got. But sometimes those players that got a chip on their shoulder, man, and the players that has a knack of being around the football, that I have you second guessing, like, dang, like how we let a player like this just slip to the fifth round. I mean, we never know with these players, man. Like you stated a lot of good points as making his dad proud and being a starter. He was a starter for all years in Clemson. And hey, listen, the kid the kid can play. He can play, man.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it ain't a matter of the size. It ain't matter how much you weigh, how fast you run. If you have the football IQ and you have a knack of being around the football and diagnosing plays, because I believe he was a team captain at one point, and he was the Mike of that defense. So he held a lot of responsibilities on his shoulder. He kept the defense in order. So that's nothing to sneeze at, man.
Right. So so he was a finalist for the Butterkiss Award, nation's top linebacker. So I mean, listen, he in the fifth round volume, man. I'm not mad at that. I like what he can bring to the team, and hopefully just as good as his dad if he plays that. I mean, it's a total different NFL game right now. So you can't play exactly how his dad played because he'll get
Yeah, because
suspended
his
for a
dad.
lot of games. But I mean, like I just need him to come in and actually be the best version of himself. Like as long as he be the
Mhm.
best version of himself, what we see from Clemson, what we see, and just being film studying the way he does, because you could tell he's not like he doesn't lack the knowledge or the studies when he gets on that field. He has the instincts, and I don't know if that comes from him just playing football or him just watching film. Sometimes players watch film and they kind of see guards pulling and they just know, hey, the play's going this way. You know what I mean? Because they watch film. You could pick up on certain things like that. You can notice
Yeah.
the way the tackle's moving, the guard, the center, and you can kind of diagnose a play from just a guy in front of you making 3 footsteps. You know what I mean? Like just
Hmm.
kind of it could be that simple. And if you're watching a game like that, you will be highly, highly productive. Even if your
Hmm.
measurables aren't there, as long as you can tackle, you just got to be able to tackle. You know what I mean? As a linebacker, at least. But yeah. So he could cover, like you see, he had pass deflections, interceptions, pick sixes. So yeah.
Yeah.
So all right, another
I
pick in the
agree with
fifth
you, my
round.
boy.
Our last pick in the fifth round, Trevor Keegan out of
Yeah.
Michigan, guard. How you feel
Yeah,
about that,
man.
man? Coming
Well,
from
you
him?
well you well you know I'm a Michigan fan, so I'm not gonna show any type of favoritism here, but he was a team captain. He was a 3 year starter here with Michigan. He started for 3 years, and he plays with an attitude. He still can polish. You got to polish up his feet is not as quick as you'll like in the guard position because you sometimes, especially with the Eagles, we use our guards to pull them a lot. We pull pause
Hmm.
uh, across the field for running back on running plays and whatnot. But that's what you're looking for, man. I mean, we got just out, and you're looking for these diamond in the rough type of line to offensive lineman, I should say. That I mean, the kid, he's a big kid, man. He
Yeah, he's
he's
actually one of
six
the
he's
older
six
prospects
five,
that we
right?
drafted. Yeah, he's 23 years
Exactly.
old. He played the senior year, so
Mm-hmm.
6'5", like you was about to say 6'5", 310.
Yeah, 6'5", 310. You know what I mean? And he won a national championship with the Michigan last year. A lot of them boys was getting drafted, but yeah, this kid has starting experience, and I believe with some players, you put them under the right coaching, especially with Jeff Stoutland, and you could coach them up. I mean,
Hmm.
we nobody knew what we had with Jordan Mailata until he joined Stoutland University, right?
Hmm.
But like I said, I don't think. I mean, he played almost every position on the offensive line, but I think if he has a chance, it'll be at right guard because he's not going to start over. He's not taking Landon Dickerson's job at that. It's like impossible, man. Landon Dickerson is a dog, but when you look at it, they say he has that attitude, kind of like Quentin Nelson from the Colts. He plays with that. He plays with that aggressiveness, that nasty attitude, and that's what you want from your offensive lineman, man.
I mean, if he could play with that kind of attitude, aggressive, and then get in that style in university and learn everything he needs to, he'll be fine. We done seen a lot of people come through Stoutland. We seen rugby players come through Stoutland and develop themselves into, you know, right tackles, Pro Bowl right tackles. So
Right.
I'm not
But
worried about that.
yeah, anytime you see an old lineman paint his face black like that, the way he does, yeah, you got to be careful with those guys, man.
That boy look like he from Home Alone, huh? That's cool.
He look like he about to get into something.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he want to get in the block and then, doing the right thing, I'm cool. You know what I mean? All right, let's switch gears a little bit. The Eagles made a 6th-round pick. Well, 2 6th-round picks to be honest, but the first 6th-round pick went to Johnny Wilson, wide receiver from Florida State.
Yeah, I was surprised that he was still out there. Honestly, I know a lot of scout and analysts said that he had a problem with dropping the football, but hey, listen, man, he at 6, I think he's like 6'6", 6'7", 230 something pounds. So
yeah, 6'7", 238.
Last time I seen a receiver like that was like, well, I didn't see him personally at that point. It was Harold Carmichael the last time the Eagles had a big receiver like that. But I think he, and I talked about it with y'all like, a couple of days ago, where I think he could make that he could convert as a tight end, but you never know.
Yeah, I've seen that, but they already came out and said they want him to play receiver, man. They don't want him to play tight end. So, I mean, with that being said, he's going to have to learn how to play receiver. Like I said, our head coach is a wide receiver, coach. So he's coached up Keenan Allen, he's coached up Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, he's coached up plenty of receivers. He coached up what's the guy over there in Indy?
Which one, Pittman?
Yeah, Pittman. You know what I mean? So he's coached up wide receiver T.Y. Hilton. He's coached them guys. So if you got a chance to to make it, then it's probably going to be here. But I will say 6'7", runs a 4.52 with a 37-inch vertical. That's a great red zone threat if you ask me. You know what I mean? So I got like what we can get from him. I just don't. We would have to check his route running. He would have to probably redefine his route running ability. I don't know if he's getting in and out of his break, if he's running his route running. Does he roll at the top a lot, or is he crisp in and out of his breaks? You know what I mean? So
yeah, that was the next. So a big name draft scouter, Louis Reddick from ESPN, he stated that he hasn't seen a player this big at wide receiver and can run good routes since Brandon Marshall. But he also said that he has to work on the hands ability. So it don't matter how much good routes you can run, if you can't catch the ball, boy, you getting off the field.
right.
So, but it's a good project type of wide receiver. I don't know. We our wide receiver room is ain't nobody ain't nobody gonna start over AJ and Smitty. So they gonna have to be fighting for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah. One thing they did say he had a strength in was run blocking. So that's another way you can make the team. Good run blocker, good size. Yeah.
Are you willing to play special team?
Yeah, for sure. You definitely got to play special teams. But I mean, yeah, that's cool. Good project. I'm not mad at it. All right, let's go with our final pick. Final pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. The Philadelphia Eagles selected guard / center Dylan McMahon out of NC State.
Big deal, huh?
Yeah. Dylan McMahon. How you feel about him? Like, what you see from him?
I didn't really. So from what I read, once again, they said he plays with attitude. He actually plays with a little bit more finesse. He can pull from left to right on running. But the concern with him was the size. I think he's like 6'2.5", 6'3", only 295 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's gonna make anything of himself in the NFL in the future, near future, however you want to say it, I mean, he might have to bulk up. But like I said, when you get into the NFL and you get into these weight programs, and if you can play ball, you could diagnose plays. They say he's a smart kid, but the big knock on him was just the size.
Yeah, but one good thing for him though was his athletic ability. He has an athleticism that's like ranked him second in the combine ratings.
Mm-hmm.
He had a 40-yard dash at 5.1, 10-yard split 1.75 seconds, 33-inch vertical, 20-yard cone. He ran a 4.3 in the 20-yard shuttle. So, I mean, he athletic. They're projecting him as a center, basically more of a center only project in the NFL. Not really a guard too much because, like you said, when it comes to size, I don't know if he can get up in there and kind of play that guard position. But at center, you're more so you're not the guy solo blocking for the most part. You're chipping, and in our offense at least, you're chipping. You're getting out on the edge, pulling. So we just came from having Jason Kelsey, who was considered undersized as well. So it's just about this kid could be the same way and learning his leverage points and different things like that, like Jason did. Um, Jason, to tell you up and down, Stoutland helped him the best when he was in his retirement speech. When he said Stout name, he started crying. You know what I mean? He
Yeah,
cried a couple of times, but that's one person who kind of propelled his career to the next level. He
right,
taught
right.
him more about his leverage points and different things like that. Like I said, there's certain things in football you don't have to be the fastest guy, you don't have to be the strongest guy, but certain things you can do in football to make yourself seem stronger, faster, and play at a pro level.
Yeah, that's well put right there. So, yep, I agree with you, my boy.
All right. So I mean, this is the draft recap. These are everybody we took. We just running back down fast. First round we grabbed Quinyon Mitchell. Second round, Cooper DeJong. Third round we Jalex Hunt. Fourth round Will Shipley. Fifth round Nania Smith. Fifth round again Jay Trott Jr. Say that because I can't say Jeremiah Trotter. Everybody think talking about his dad. Fifth round Trevor Keegan. Sixth round Johnny Wilson, and we wrapped it up in the sixth round with Dylan McMahon.
Go ahead and let them know about some of the players that the Eagles picked up after the draft, man.
Oh, you talking about the eighth round?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you know.
undrafted free agents, the eighth round. The Eagles picked up Gabe Hall out of Baylor, defensive tackle. 6'9", 6'6", 291. LSU safety Andre Sand. He had 3 interceptions last season. That's going to be a tough uphill battle to make this team
Yeah,
on the
and
back end
also,
with us.
right, also, I think they say he's like 25. I think he's been in college for a long time. So,
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. Tennessee, we picked up a tight end, McCollin Castles. I guess he'll be a project player. We'll see. Our tight end room I mean, there's room, but we'll see.
but
This
this
is
one right here is pretty
yeah,
interesting, right?
yeah, Georgia running back Kendall Milton. He could push for a roster spot. I think it's going to be between. I think Boston Scott's pretty much probably done.
No,
Um,
I think he's not even on the roster anymore. They
yeah,
gave his number up and everything. He's no longer on the roster.
okay. So
Yeah,
it'll probably be between Kendall Milton and Will Shipley who gets that last running back spot for the most part.
yeah.
Um,
Somebody's gonna get put on the practice squad, right?
100%. But they'll probably get plucked off eventually because I could see Kendall like probably what's the name won't Saquon won't run in the preseason. So you'll get a lot of work out of Kendall Milton and
Will Shipley, right?
Will Shipley and probably some what's his name? What's our backup running back right now, name?
Kenny Gainwell.
Yeah, you get some Kenny G in the preseason. I doubt they will run. Maybe he might get a game out of Saquon, but we'll see.
Right.
Howard Olaman and non Dakwa. I don't know. 6'8", 350.
Dankwa is what you
Yeah,
want to say there, bud.
Dankwa, Dakwa, however you want to pronounce that. 6'8", 350. It's a big guy. Played basketball, so maybe he can move his feet. We'll get him in Stoutland University and see what he can do. And last one is an O line from Maryland. I'm not even going to attempt to say his name. 6'4",
Yeah,
308. So we'll see how
yeah.
that works out for
He's
them.
from Frostburg State. I never even heard of that college before. But like I said, it's not about where you play. It's about where you finish at, right?
So, I mean, that concludes the 2024 NFL Draft for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean,
If you had to give it an overall grade, right, between with all the picks, what would you give it?
because of how high you did I think you nailed the first two picks for sure, A pluses on those, and then I think the second pick is still. I mean, the third round pick is up for debate. I'm gonna go with a a B plus, but
Yeah.
I'm teetering on the A range. But I'm gonna go B plus. I'm gonna go B plus.
Right. I was thinking the same thing. I was stuck between a B plus and an A minus
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, like you said, we knocked out those first two picks. We actually got two positions of needs because we were so horrible last year. Like they was throwing the football right over our head. Like we had football marks on our helmet by the time they was done with us.
Right.
It was bad, bro. But yeah, so but like I said, we'll see how the later round picks pan out. But you know the rule of thumb: if you can get 3 to 4 starters out of your draft picks, 3 being good, 4 being a push. If you can get 3 to 4 starters in the future, then hey man, the draft was a success. I mean that's every team's goal, right? To
Right.
get some starters out of the draft.
Right.
Because if that's not your goal, then why are you drafting, right?
Yeah, there's no point in playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. With that being said, I'm out of here. Unless you got anything else for the people.
Nah, go birds.
Yes, sir. Go Birds.